The final scene of Casque d'Or, although spare and hushed, is one of the most gut-wrenching in movie history, especially because of the understated way director Jacques Becker connects the window from which Marie watches the execution to the window through which Georges brought her coffee following their first idyllic night together. Future director François Truffaut, a great admirer of Becker's films, admitted he was always looking for ways to work a Casque d'Or-style ending into his movies. Becker would go on to direct several other classics, including 1954's Touchez pas à Grisby, a contemporary underworld story starring Jean Gabin. Now, if that title sounds too arty for you, just remember, it translates as hands off the loot. Becker died in 1960, only 53 years of age, after completing his final film, La Trou, The Hole, the greatest prison break movie ever made in France. Simone Signoret came of age during the Nazi occupation of France. She worked at various jobs supporting her mother and siblings after her father, a Jewish resistance fighter, left the family to serve with General Charles de Gaulle. Her early post-war roles were mostly variations on the characters she portrays in Casque d'Or: tarts, prostitutes, and fallen women. Signoret married director Yves Allégret, who directed several of her best 40s films. She first appeared with her Casque d'Or co-star Serge Reggiani in the 1950 classic La Ronde, directed by Max Ophuls. Once she passed through this vice-ridden stage of her career, Signoret aged gracefully into more complex roles, like the scheming headmistress in the 1955 suspense classic Les Diaboliques. She won the Oscar for Best Actress for the 1959 British film Room at the Top, and was nominated for Best Actress for Ship of Fools from 1965. She divorced Allégret in 1951 after falling in love with actor Yves Montand, whom she married later that year. They remained together until her death in 1985, at only 64 years of age. Today, they are buried side by side in Paris's Père Lachaise cemetery. Signoret is still revered as a national treasure in France, not only for her acting, but for her political activism and aplomb as a writer. Her 1978 memoir, Nostalgia Isn't What It Used to Be, was a bestseller, and she published her only novel, Adieu, Volodya, the year she died. Signoret's co-star, Serge Reggiani, was also multi-talented. Born in Italy, he moved to France as a child, and in the early 40s, left his theater studies to fight with the resistance. After the war, he began a long career that led to work with directors as diverse as Jean-Pierre Melville, Luchino Visconti, and Roman Polanski. But in the 50s and 60s, Reggiani became just as well known as a crooner, scoring big hits with interpretations of both classic and nouvelle French chansons, much like his contemporary, Charles Aznavour. I hope you enjoyed Casque d'Or. Now, the disgruntled among you who are hankering for sleek American cars, snap-brim fedoras, and lots of hard-boiled American language, come back next week, when I'll be presenting the Halloween edition of Noir Alley, featuring one of the greatest Alfred Hitchcock movies not directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Glenn Ford, Lee Remick, and Stephanie Powers star in Experiment in Terror, a classic thriller from 1962, shot in my hometown of San Francisco. Until then, see you in the shadows.